Hey guys, I'm Archer Master. Today I hope you know how to count Elixir and cycle through this video. Let's get right to it. First, I'm gonna teach you how to count Elixir. To be honest, I can't do it perfectly myself unless I'm in a pretty good headspace. Top players can easily defend themselves against an opponent's Elixir at minimal cost, but it is very rare, even them, that they understand Elixir perfectly. Let's quickly compare my Elixir with my opponent's. You should think of it as roughly 3 seconds for one Elixir to accumulate. Now that the opponent has hit a zap, his cost is at least less than 9, so there is no Elixir advantage. And Tesla can be placed in advance when there's nothing to do or when it's hard to get an archer or knight out. And since the opponent doesn't do anything against the archer, I'm gonna put the expo on the right side anyway. Giant skeleton cost 6 and probably took about 6 seconds. So his elixir cost about 6, because an elixir accumulates about 1 elixir every 3 seconds at 1x. And then they put out a monk, which is for cost, in front of the tower at 6 or 7 cost. And it took about 5 seconds to reach the front of the tower, so roughly around 5 elixirs for the opponent. Well, but at least we're getting the elixir advantage. We've only had expo and knight out since we both accumulated 10 costs, whereas he has wasted about 12 costs when you add up the elixir from that guy and monk, and the elixir from abilities. In addition, the giant skeleton and monk were out of cycle, so it were locked in the tower. This will give you a little time to hit the fireball and try to defend it, because it will be bounced back by your abilities. Almost no one still understands the elixir the other side because of the double time in. So what to do from here? When you don't even know if you're getting the elixir advantage or not, put Tesla in the middle once like this. Perhaps the elixir was the same because they left the giant skeleton behind at the same time. I'm gonna put out Knight Skelly, E-Spirit, and Fireball, Log. He had 8 costs out from before the bridge, so he attacked with almost no elixir. Perhaps he's got a giant skeleton out, which should cost 9 or less. And I'm attacking because the monk is on the field and there's no meta in his hand. It's hard to count perfectly because it's double time and the elixir builds up quickly, but at least now we have the elixir advantage. And since he's even put up a monk, he definitely wouldn't have the elixir. And I would normally put expo, but his abilities are too meta for expo to put it there. So, I'm gonna put out Tesla in the middle to defend them. Monk is gone too, so gonna go expo. At this stage, my opponent has just put out an elixir from behind his right side, and he's defended with a giant skeleton against expo, so his elixir is about to. Perhaps he was unable to discern when the expo's target would change and got in the tower and did some damage. We'll see if he doesn't use his abilities here and then attack to the right. By the time he doesn't put out anything, you've already taken a 1 or 2 cost advantage. He got the giant skeleton out late, probably because it was out of cycle. It was like hitting a spell and protecting the expo. Now all we need is a fireball cycle, and this is gonna be GG. Teaching people how to count elixirs is a very difficult thing to do, but I hope you got the hang of it. It's always a good idea to check your elixir against your opponents. So I'm gonna play the game again as a kind of review. If you're more interested in knowing how to count the cycle in your hand, skip ahead in the chapters. We are now in the second round, and, against witches, you can get your elixir advantage close to 0 by immediately hitting them with a fireball. Both costs are 4. But the elixir advantage can be taken away in the time between when that witch comes out and when you hit against it. In this case, perhaps there is almost no elixir advantage. Also, my opponent has a giant skeleton out from behind. And since the elixir only costs 4 to 5, I attack to the left in this state. Yes, in 1x time, if you attack at the very moment your opponent puts out a 6 cost. The opponent can't put out a 6 cost like RG. And here we don't think too much about the elixir. We just focus on protecting it. I'm pretty sure he's out of RG's cycle in this situation. But it was unclear if I was getting the elixir advantage, so I'm gonna hit the log and defend. If I had the elixir advantage, I would have ignored this spare goblin and put down the expo. I just thought it would be hard to lock because he has a giant skeleton in his hand. I'm glad I didn't attack. He had a unit out of the back when I cost 8, so a 2 elixir advantage was taken. Basically, it's pretty risky to attack unless you have an elixir advantage. So I basically try not to attack them in those situations too. And since we both used too many elixirs, I'm not sure, so let's just go with it. If we've got an elixir advantage, we're wasting 2 elixirs by hitting the log, so I'm trying to avoid that by getting units out of the back. I prefer to hit a log and do a little damage to make a shape and do a lot of damage with the expo instead of hitting a log and doing a little damage. Anyway, I'm gonna defend with expo. Put out archers and Tesla. Do you see that the opponent's elixir is almost 0 at this point? I could have allowed some damage there and attacked on the left side, but it looked like it was going to go in kind of crazy, so I used a log. So we couldn't attack, and once again from the defense. I'm gonna put out archers and gonna go fireball to kill them. Tesla and archers here. I think I'm gonna go on the offensive here. He had a crazy elixir. It's pretty hard to count elixirs in double time, but if your opponent even uses spells like fireball or lightning when he attacks, you might say you've definitely got the elixir advantage. And anyway, gonna put out Tesla in the middle. Knight can make the target turn to it by putting it out here at this time. And his RG is out of cycle, so I'm gonna attack here. Archers and Knight. I immediately put out Skelly to Giant Skeleton. It can quickly kill and the expo can got in the tower before the opponent's elixir builds up. I was able to do some crazy huge damage like that. Maybe I didn't explain it very well, but I hope you understand it. And just like that, this game is over, and we're going to move on to the next step. I would be happy if you could watch it all the way through. This match will be the last game. I hope next time I can teach you how to count cycles. Basically, the cycle goes around in for peace cycles. So it's like if you play that particular card and then for other cards, it's going to come around. But if the champion is on the field, the cycle will now turn with 3 cards. So, how do you count the cycles? You have to count them steadily, piece by piece. I know it sounds like a pain in the ass, but I think this is the only way. But of course, if you keep at it, you'll gradually get used to it and become the best player you can be. Seriously, why can't mid-ladder people be top player? Because they doesn't count elixir and cycles. To be honest, it is impossible to be able to do it just by watching this video. And you have to practice it, but if this video is well received, I will post videos like this on a regular basis because you may not even know if you are really doing it if you are working hard alone. Let's all become top players and brag about it to our friends. In the meantime, I'd like to start counting cycles now. But honestly, I wouldn't even count from here. For now, the knight and logs here. That's good. And I'm gonna put out archers behind the tower. And E-Spirit. Basically, most RG decks with Zappier champions in them are fireballs, so put the Expo in a position where it won't get caught up with the tower. I didn't think it was lightning. Then I'd like to start counting the lightning cycles now. First, he put out Skeleton King from behind. Then the second one is Fisherman, and the champion is on the field, so if you play one more card, it will come around. Putting the Tesla here away from the Expo prevents both from being destroyed by lightning. Even if Tesla were to hit lightning, it would be no problem at all because it would give him a huge elixir advantage and slow down his opponent's cycle. He has only played 1 or 2 cards since RG, so I'm gonna attack at this time. I wish I could do my best to protect Expo, but not one shot went into the tower. He has got RG out in front of the bridge, so I'll defend this position with archers and Tesla. This is our best chance. Why? I wanted you to think about the cycle of RG and lightning. And even if he takes out a champion, until his RG turns, it'll turn in 2, and lightning will turn in 3 at the fastest. And by putting out the Expo the moment the 6 cost is accumulated, the opponent can't buy much time. This turn, even if it doesn't get into the tower, his elixir is almost gone by getting out to the log, so I'm also gonna Expo this the moment the 6 cost is accumulated. You're just in time. But even with the addition of this witch, the RG cycle will only turn 3 cards or 2 cards once he get the champion out, so we can keep attacking. It was a log to predict the skeleton army, but it failed spectacularly. He spirit to kill them, and knight and log. And then archers here. It was close like this, but we managed to win. I don't know. I hope you get the idea. If this video is well received, I will do it again next time. So please subscribe and like it. I'll close the video now. Thank you for watching. Bye.